Okay, so I think I'm ready. So let's jump right into the games. Today we have a few games, and I think we have a few pretty good games. So we better just get going. So the first game we're going to start with is the game Thief and Stowe against Matthew and Frosty. There will be a few corrupted games, so I don't know how much we can actually cast. But they said they were pretty good, so I'm hoping that we are getting some good games, at least until the game corrupts. Yeah, so let's go. So first off, Frosty and Matthew, two experienced, seasoned players in Deathmatch. The same can be said about Stowe and oh man, I hate this mouse. Why does everyone have to use a different sensitivity? The same can be said about Don Stowe and Last Thief. So they also, I think they played probably around 100 to 1000 games against each other, so they know each other and they know how they play. And there's a bit of rivalry going on. So I think I need my spoilers still, right? The antis. Oh, it's already inside. Okay, good. So I will have 4 series. This one, then 2 more, and the last one will be Nahoy and HF against Siviera and Longest Dongos. Last one is, in my opinion, is probably the most the closest one, or the one I'm looking out for the most. I mean, this is also good, but I think this is corrupted, so that's why I'm a bit, yeah. But let's just get into the game. So we have 2 times Portuguese, Portuguese in each team. 1 Germans for Matthew. Matthew likes to play as Germans. He's very, it's just one of his favorite civilizations. He's very good with them. They are pretty strong on Great Plains. He has a pretty decent Warwagon Rush, which he also shows us here. All things considered, I don't think the Portuguese is the worst choice against Germans. The Dragoons will trade decently against War Wagons, and once the Cazador kick in, you can pretty much defend a rush. And yeah, I think Thief was a bit slow. He could have been a bit faster, but I don't think he had Cheyenne. Oh, he had Cheyenne. Oh, there's also raids going on this side. And now what's usually happens, so this is, I think this is the trademark playstyle of Stowe and Thief. So they will always help each other out. They play like, they have a very good synergy, very good team play. So yeah, it usually won't happen that one will be out because he's dead and the other one will still have a lot of resources. So usually they will run out of resources together. And yeah, that's what's here happening. I think this fight overall so far should be in favor for Stowe and Thief, in my opinion, just because they have a lot more skirmishers. I mean, if they're throwing away their calf, that's not good. Yeah. Some raids going on here, but nothing happened so far. I think the walls are decent. I don't understand this wall, to be honest. So this one here seems a bit random. I would rather have the wall on this side. Because I mean, maybe he has some long-term plan, Frosty. You never know with the snowman. Now that the fight continues, he got a decent shot, but also he lost all his Kyverins against Ulans, which is not something you want to do. I think his population is a bit low for Thief. Oh no, it's not. Does he have some raids going on? No, he has a lot of cannons. Yeah, I think now the trades are going better for For the team of Matthew and Frosty, maybe? Hard to call it. I mean, they're still fighting under the towers, which is really helping them. No, I think I think Thief is trading better. I mean, the cannon shots, they can be very, like if they get 1 or 2 good volleys off, it will swing the fight immediately. But in theory, they should have the coverance to deal with it. They have not very much anti-cav, so I would really like to have some. Oh my god, where did these shots come from? Nice shots by Matthew. Still alive, those heavy cannons. And I think another 5 coverings. So yeah, so far, I mean, they've also taken the map, Frosty and Matthew. So they are slowly pushing forward. Finally the heavy cannons go down. Now a big headache for Thief is away, which is good. Economies, let me just quickly look at the economy. So economy is starting for all players with Portuguese. You always have 4 TCs. So your boom will always be okay if you have the food necessary to produce. Sometimes you could also put in medicine or 2 town centers. Did he send them? Oh, here. Oh, yes. He has 6 town centers. Okay, so he has a decent boom. I think I would prefer medicine over town centers. Just because your villager will be cheaper. And it will help you roughly the same. And you don't have to spend as much food at a time where you're often in a place where you want to defend. That's why I usually would prefer medicine over 6cc booming nowadays, but I think it's preference really. Stowe sent his covered wagon, and of course he forgot it. So he will have the 4 TCs, and I think he also sent the 10 villagers. So his economy is also looking decent. For his deck, I think on this map you could justify having 1 native card at least, especially the team card. Because what you want to do on this map is you want to play for the natives, and French have the among the best natives in the game. German boom is going decent, so he has a few idle villagers, but he has his mills, and he has decent amount of villagers already. Oh no! Oh, now the Stowe. Especially that, the Stowe special, sadly. sadly, this is what happens too often with Stowe's petards. They will just blow themselves up for 1 charge, which is really not what he's looking for. I don't think he scouted. He scouted the factories, so he doesn't know where they are. So I really think, if he didn't blow up his petards, then he gets the factory 100% of the time. Oh, no, he gets it. So decent effort. I think it's still worth it to spend 15 petards for 1 factory. It's just looked just destroying a church with petards is not something you want to do really. So good on Stowe for doing that. I think he should also get a few more walls here. Other than that, his base looks decent. Now they're starting to push in the middle. So while all of this is going on, I think they're getting a decent trade here. So yeah. So that's good. And they're starting finally to push. But this is a long way to go if you want to finish this game. So they have quite a journey ahead of them. Also with 1 mortar you will take quite some time to destroy all these buildings, and the rest of the units of Stowe Thief don't really have siege. except maybe the horse artillery. And he really wants to not lose them here, but he's busy defending this raid. Oh, Thief got the trading post. That's actually something most people would forget, but he remembered. Oh, another raid going on here. I don't think Kamchatka Horse Archer. I think the description says something that they would be very feared under the American settlers. But they are really not dangerous in the game against settlers, so they do very little. So they achieve usually pretty little when you go raiding with them. I mean, I say that, and he killed 10 villagers because he, for some reason, sent his goons away. So maybe they paid for it already, paid for themselves. Oh, here the next Stowe specialist coming with petards. It's just waiting for population. Oh, more raids going on. Oh, there are a lot of raids going on now. So, do I probably also? So there will be no more notifications. So there are a lot of raids going on, and there is the push through the middle looks decent for Thief and Stowe, so they will continue their push. Will he get a shot? Oh, finally. Decent shot. Yeah, I think usually one mortar is okay, but I think to push you usually want like 2 to 3. I don't think you... In 99% of the cases you don't want like 5 mortars or something. Usually 2 to 3 is the magic number. I think 3 is the magic number usually, because with 3 you can kill a lot of stuff pretty quickly. I think 3 one-shot a house, for example. And yeah, barracks will go down in 2 volleys. So that is decent. Oh. Oh my god, those cannons. Oh. Those were some tasty shots. But maybe I also just baited him, so he would go forward with his cannons. Yeah, but 4 cannons against 10 Passador. Maybe worth it. Oh, maybe he's getting now a good... Oh, he could have gone here and actually killed those cavalryans. Paid attention. Oh, the Stowe petard. Is he looking for the factories? Oh, he walked right past by these. I think he could have probably killed these factories if he really... Does he actually see them? He doesn't see this factory. Stowe, come on. Yeah, the problem with petards, they don't have much line of sight. So this is what sometimes just happens. You're not seeing stuff. Now the walling really starts to happen. Oh, so this could actually be a really long game. So this map is pretty big, and they are all set up pretty well, and skill difference isn't noticeable, so it's very even. So this could take some time. Let's maybe see what kind of... So I think Germans, they have a great start, and they are overall a very strong civilization, but for me they fall off in the late game. So I usually would prefer Portuguese in the late game over Germans. So Portuguese in Deathmatch is especially good because of their... I hope he has it in his deck. Yes, the artillery hit points card. So what this card does, so in GD it's not as big of an impact, but in Deathmatch, with this card your cavalryans will, or all your cannons basically, will survive 2 cavalry shots. So it is actually a huge boost to your cannons. So that's really a really good card. And of course they have strong skirmishers and dragoons. And they do have just overall solid units. Let me just see it. I really can't read the chat, so maybe next time I will put my laptop up beside me. But on this, like, the problem with this wood PC I have here, so I can So this PC really can't handle has enough power for 2 screens and Age of Empire 3, so I really can only do 1, which is why I really can't read chat or something like this. So I will only check in the pauses. So I'm sorry that I'm not too interactive. Maybe next time, I think maybe next time I'll just put my laptop beside me and open the stream there and the chat, and then I will just read and can answer. Okay, so but where was I? So yeah, I think all are set up now, basically, except Frosty. So Frosty is a good player, but he tends to forget his economy, so his economy will be up later than it really should be, in my opinion. So Thief and Frosty play the same civilization, and Thief just has 99 villagers, while Frosty only has 50, despite Thief being under more pressure, which is usually something where some people would stop make economy because they feel the need to produce more units. So this is really something. But other than that, Matthew's economy is fully boomed. Stowe's is basically full, so they are all set up. Oh, space got cleaned up here. I mean, he did get raided a bit, so Frosty, and he also only has 3 town centers, so I think he could have. I think he can build 1 more, right? So I think you can build 4 by default with Portuguese, at least in Deathmatch, or at least from age 4 and onwards. And yeah, so they are slowly pushing here. I think someone dropped. Yeah, Frosty dropped. So let's. So this game is completely even. I would put Stowe and Thief in the favorable position, but it's not by much. So yeah, let's go to the next part. Let's hope this works. So it's really open for anyone, so whoever plays better wins this game. So far, Thief and Stowe are slowly pushing, which is a good sign for them. But that also means... But it feels like to me... Oh. Yeah. Oh. It's actually worked. So I'm actually surprised how well that worked, considering the state of the rest of this game. But that's good. So it feels like to me that they are losing a bit more unit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I shouldn't have jinxed it. I knew this would happen. So I don't know who won. So I'm just going with the next game. I know the end result, so eventually we will know who won the first game. But so far it looked even. But really open for both sides. Yeah. So if you can, it would make sense to just record your game, just because this happens. So there are a few broken save games already, and it's really annoying. So yeah, it's just annoying. Next game, interestingly to me, so Stowe got to pick USA. USA is usually something which will always get banned, and I think Thief and Stowe banned it for Frosty and Matthew. But I think what Matthew and Frosty did, they banned Russia just because Thief has like 500 hours Russia deathmatch alone. So that also makes sense. But oh no. I'm just going to restart the game really quick. Sorry guys. So just to continue my thought, so Thief has probably around 100 to 500 hours of Russia in deathmatch alone, and he is a very distinct playstyle, very aggressive, and it's very easy to lose to, because he is in your face very early and just with a lot of power, I would say. So it is very annoying to play against, and he definitely knows his Russia. So I think that's why they banned Russia, just because they wanted to annoy Thiefy. But that means that USA is open for Stowe, and Stowe really is not bad with USA. So I've played against him in practice a few times, and really he just plays solid. And USA is the best civilization, so does this work? Game back. No, game is back. Okay, so let's go to game 2. So yeah, now they have to play against USA. So USA is especially strong with the rush, so they can get a lot of units out with their 5 rockets, and they can. I'm just going to open the deck real quick. So the Navajo scouts are pretty good because you just get 21 more population. The rockets are really good because 5 rockets is just enough artillery to really put pressure on, and it's just 1 card really. So these 2 cards will be your aggression, then they will also be supported by the outpost wagons. So you can just plant towers in the face, and there's not much really you can do against it, in my opinion. And for booming, you do have the British immigrants, so you can boom quite well with your houses, and you can be at 99 villagers at 10 minutes if you want to really. You also have 2 factories, you have a bank wagon, you have German immigrants. You do have a lot of options with the capital, so you can make a lot of wagons and get the trade route really quick. So usually I wouldn't use the general to build a trading post. I would rather build a 4 somewhere. Even if it's not as aggressive, it will always mean that you have something to fall back to. But it's ultimately not too important, I think. Now the rush really starts. So what you usually do, you just make a lot of infantry. Especially the volunteers, but really you just make a big amount of infantry and block anything that will come to you. Yeah. So I think for what they are doing, Thief is a bit too far behind. So I think he would have needed a front base. I mean he will. Oh, some sneak going on with the envoy. They still build native embassy. I thought they got rid of that. So do you know? Actually, do you know why they have the ability? So Dutch have all their rows full with buildings, and that means either their explorer or an envoy has to build it. Otherwise, they would have to code something around it, and that would be too much. At least that's my theory. I mean, I don't know, but it's what I think happened. Yeah. So now I think the start went pretty well for Matthew, all things considered. He got rid of the rockets without too much trouble. I mean, there's still some coverance here, but he's not in a losing position, so he's still in a decent position here. Has some outposts going up. He still has a big army of skirmishers. I think Stowe needs some forward bases here soon, just so his supply line is closer. Oh, now those coverants are really good. I think they. Yeah, so all cover instead for Stowe. And he only has one left. This is not a good horse artillery here. But I mean, the thief at least comes now. I think he's starting to get some bases. There are also really some melee cavalry helps for both sides. So gendarmes are a great addition to the army. Although he cannot really follow it up. Because if his skirmishers move in, then the horse artillery will shoot at the infantry. But he got rid of the horse artillery, so he can go forward again. Oh, also this is a great catch by Thief. Now the envoy. Oh yeah, that was this is a nasty snipe, Thief. So this is really a nasty snipe. I'm proud of you. That's what I'm trying to say. The envoy native embassy into natives. Maybe he gets the second factory. Actually, I think the factory are not the most important thing here. I mean, it's good if he kills them. I mean, it's all of the economy of Matthew. But really, if he can just distract him enough, so they can push the front, then they also just win. Frosty just joined with 1 million cannons though, so their infantry-based push just comes to a stop here. What happened to all his volunteers, by the way? Did they just collapse? Yeah, I think like if Thief would have had like 30 riders out at all time and just had him behind the army, then they wouldn't have been cleaned up that bad. So yeah, so the artillery push really continues here. And also the natives here in the back, so let me see. I mean, he has enough resources. With Dutch he usually lack coin, so if he spends some food and wood to be aggressive, that's usually worth it. And sniping the factories is huge. Because if Stowe is getting at least some economy behind it, Dutch is automatically having eco with their banks, so their mid game should just be better. Because with Spain you usually have trouble in the mid game with the boom, because it is not the best boom. Let me see if he has it in the deck. With Spanish gold it is okay, but I think you also might need a TC. I usually have the TC inside too. And yeah, so that the boom is just not as, so it's not bad, but it's also just not as good as Dutch or United States. So, and French is the same really. I think French in the mid game is really struggles, and he wasn't able to get out. Okay, I said it, and he got out 2 TCs, but he really would need more TCs. So I think they will just collapse. So I assume that, or will they collapse? So it looks very bad for them, in my opinion. So yeah, so Thief and Stowe are in a winning position. So they're just cleaning up everything here, really. Oh, now some counter raids come, so he doesn't need an embassy to make natives and send them around towards the map, across the map. So yeah, so I think what they also want is some walls here. Thief and so that is, maybe they think they have won already, so they're not doing it, or maybe they're just focusing. But this looks really over for me, in my opinion. Just see the resources. I mean, Frosty's resources are still decent. Matthew still has a little bit of food and wood in his bank, but no coin really. Also just 29. I mean, 29 villages is a little bit, but it's great. great game. So I don't know who won. I don't know who won either of these games. I think it looked pretty over for Matthew and Frosty. So really they shouldn't be able to come back from this, if you ask me. But the game just crashed or just cannot produce consistent record fights for some reason. Maybe you can tell me who actually won it in the end, Matthew. I think from how I understood it, the first game Thief and Stowe won, and the second game you turned around, I think. But I really cannot. From the state of this game, it looks almost impossible to come back, if you ask me. So I don't know how you did it. And I would like to see it. Yeah, we won. Greatest comeback in deathmatch history. All denied by the definitive edition of Age of Empires 3, who just killed save games. So, Matthew just said that they won the second game and they lost the first game, which is not what I expected from watching these games. So the best games really happened at the start of the tournament already. Because from the games itself, like we had some pretty one-sided games so far, and so these are really anyone's game really, so they are very good. And yeah, so it's sad that they happened so early, and it's also sad that they are not complete. So this time we have Spanish and Ottoman against Ottoman and Dutch. So Spanish, it looks like Don Stowe is now trying his luck with Spanish. Spanish is good, I think. So you have the option to go for the Archaic Rush. You do have... Oh, he doesn't even have the Spanish gold. Stowe, why would you use 1000 food? Doesn't make any sense. What is this deck, Stowe? Stowe, man. This is a very, very, very weird Spanish deck, if you ask me. So usually you would have Spanish gold. This gives you something in the mid game. So this 1000 food is just never a card I would use. I would rather use units if I want to use some value. I would also use the Archaic units attack and hit points. Just because if you start with the Archaic units and you are somewhat successful with it, you want something to follow up. And this card is decent to do that. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of the... So I'm not a fan of stonemasons anymore. I know at the start I thought this card would be very good, but really I'm not a big fan of it anymore. And if you use it, I don't think you... So if you use stonemasons, you should skip the colonial estancias. So both is just overkill in my opinion, because you use it to get population usually, so the houses build faster. Now he starts with the pikeman and just runs in, wants to see what he can do. So yeah, sadly it's a bit early for pikemen, and then really not finding factories. I think you could have justified to delay this TC here to pikemen, because they are kind of dead anyway. Could have also tried to run out here. Yeah. But the push starts now here, or the Frosty and Matthew now start to group up in the middle again. So this is a lot of grouping up here, and so throughout these games there were a lot of team fights. So it's usually wasn't a 1-on-1, it usually was combined in all games, that there will be 4 big armies fighting it out. Yeah, it looks like that Thief and Frosty should have the advantage here. I think they're still missing missionaries here. For Stowe, did he forget them or did he just send him forward? I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening, so they are also really active on the map. So there's walls going up here, you had some bases going up here at the start of the game. You have walls going up here very early, you have the trading posts going up. So overall, it might seem like they make mistakes, but really it's just because they are setting up all the map and have to deal with raids and stuff. So it's just really what's taking so much of their attention. So these cannons really should get into the action. Yeah, Stowe just has way too many cannons, I think. So if there would be some hussars, they would just clean up everything here. So I think throughout the series there could have been a lot of hussar cleanups if someone just makes hussars. I mean, against Spain you could always say okay, but then they just make a lot of pikemen. That's true. Yeah, but still, so 20 hussars would just be such a pain against this army. But then again, it's also not very good terrain here, so they would also probably be stuck with the bad AI. Some bases going up here. Matthew using his front base construction villagers. The militiaman killed the walling villager, so this villager can walk in. That's what happened. Also, what's also often happening is if you are building a base at the front, you would sometimes forget your base at home. Stowe didn't forget it though. I would say he's maybe missing a stable, and maybe missing a second barracks. But other than that, he really has everything. Oh, now they are really playing aggressive again. So this is a good fight for them. So it's very aggressive. I think it is a good fight. So if those cannons go down a bit early and if he target fires the dragoons here, then this would be an amazing fight. Now it's only a good fight. I also think he just has way too many. It's way too much of these coverings. They're really not helping him. Also now what's happening is he gets flanked by Matthew, and all his cannons are exposed. His infantry mass is not in front of him. I think he should focus the mortars to stop the push. Although is this really the best? Oh my god, that was a shot! Holy, that was painful. Just 15 Abo guns just disappeared, right? And sadly there was something between. But I think they are again in a very good position, Stowe and Thief. So their early game is really on point if you ask me. It looks very scary, their push to deal with their cannons and with just the aggressiveness where they don't hesitate to just go all out aggression. Yeah, I mean they didn't kill anything vital yet, but they are just in their phase, and they are also fighting two armies against one. I think now with the hussars, now finally they can clean up a little bit, I think. Maybe rods would have also been decent, but I'm also oftentimes with Spain I'm also not making rodelleros. Yeah, so oh, that was a decent shot. Don't you just love the heavy bombards when they blow stuff away? It's just so satisfying. Yeah, and it feels like they are running out of stuff. And I think a good part of the reason why they're running out. So I think Stowe could have just completely skipped this card and it would have changed nothing for him. And could have used the Spanish Armada. How's it called? I forgot the name. So the card where every shipment gives you some coin, and I think he has around 10 to 20 cards, 10 to 15 cards sent already. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's say 10. So he would have 3k point, 3,000 coin more just with this one card. And with 3k more coin, you could make a lot more. You could make a lot of skirmishers. You could make a lot more cannons. You can make the lancers. But now they are really running out of steam. And okay, so yeah, now it looks way better for Matthew and Frosty. So their base building really helped them here, to be honest. So he got up something in the back early, and he also didn't build stuff at the front. So his economy or something. Did he actually... I think Frosty is very late with his factories, or did he lose them? Oh no, here's him. So that's good. So yeah, so this map is very small, and he managed to put all his important economy in the back, which is not something you can always do when you are under pressure. He managed to do it, so that was good for him. And I think, at least for the next few minutes, I think Spain, as I said, without Spanish gold. I mean, he has a decent economy, but without Spanish gold, and also without the haciendas, their economy really is lackluster. I would also use capitalism and the other estates card. Yeah, and so he also was looking where it was, like me. Didn't see them. Yeah, factories are all alive on this map, I think. Oh no, killed one. The big question is how did he kill them and when? Yeah, I think what they all could do is just get the trading posts. Now is enough time to get it. And also I really think that Matthew and Frosty should use the momentum they have to push. And not let Stowe and Thief get back into the game. Because they are really in a good position now, if you ask me. So resource wise and population, Stowe doesn't have many resources and units. So he really needs like 3 to 5 minutes to recover. And if they can use this to push, then yeah, then they are in a good position. Simple as that. I'm also, yeah, this you can do that with Abu guns because they do siege damage, and siege damage means that they do full damage against cannons, so they do a lot of damage against cannons. So you can walk up cannons if they are too aggressive and just kill them. But you really have to be careful because they are also not the tankiest units. And I don't think this was the best deal, all things considered. Stowe also now out of wood, so he cannot react to these hussars. I think now he needs to put his factories on wood. Oh, the petards. So he killed them with petards. So you Stowe Matthew. That's interesting. Now I know why he doesn't have. Now I know why he doesn't have any wood, because he made a lot of pikemen and just ran them here. He angered the Stowe. Yeah, but that didn't achieve much. So I don't think it's something you should do if you are this low on resources. I would rather stabilize. Did he? No, he only blew up the walls here. Okay, so yeah, but it really doesn't look good for Stowe and Thief. So Thief has to fight off kind of alone, and because Stowe's population is not up, they are really just not. They're not getting good fights anymore. It feels like. Also, Dutch has a decent economy in deathmatch, and also has a big army. So in deathmatch, it usually doesn't hurt them that much that they only have 60 villagers. Then, for example, in treaty. So they're also. So they will trade pretty good because they have a bigger army. I mean, they don't have to sacrifice that much for it, I would say. Especially Frosty, man. Frosty, why don't you send your bank cards? Frosty is just not a big fan of booming, I think. So yeah, usually with these bank cards you get 60 villagers and 2 more banks, and it's something which is good. Usually, what I see also a lot of deathmatch players do, but I don't quite fully understand, is you would have the 2 culverins and 2 mortars. So in my opinion, the 2 culverins are always more value than the 2 mortars, and you need them out most of the time, or a lot more than mortars, and you can just train mortars in the foundry. So I would rather only have culverins and produce the mortars. That's my idea, but I feel like a lot of people do that. So I'm also not a big fan of the 2 mortars. Come on, you have to use the Nizam. That's the only three-way. Yeah. I'm just not a fan of the 2 mortars cards. Maybe they know something which I don't, but I'm just not a big fan of it, to be honest. Oh, some petards. So also a fun fact about the petards. I think petards. I don't know what people. So Stowe does it a lot, but if someone pays attention, so the Minutemen which you can create in town centers, which you will almost always make extra town centers. So those militiamen do extra damage against petards. I think with a better reaction time he could have just defended it. Because like with one volley they kill 1 petard and with the next, and then there's only 2 petards left and the factory dies. So usually what the militiamen are enough to defend against petard raids. Or petard, yeah. But that was actually really significant because Stowe is already struggling with resources and losing against something, and also he has a lot of idle villagers. So that's also not something you want to have. Yeah, it just seems over for me, to be honest. So this game now, I mean, I said it about the last game and they came back, but this game, yeah, they're just wasting so many units. So I think this is like the 10th Chiron or something which just ran into their death. This is just a terrible trade if you have to take it. Stowe doesn't seem like he has any army, or it didn't seem like he would have any army for the last like 5 minutes, so he would always just have a few units fighting against a bigger army, so he would trade worse, which is like the snowball effect, which is often happening in Age of Empire. So once you're in a bad position, you will often get in a worse position, because with a smaller army you will trade even worse than with a similar sized army, and that's what's happening for Stowe for the last minutes. Now some decent shots with cannons, but he has coverings out, and just looks too solid for Matthew. I don't think that they can. For Matthew and Frosty, I don't think that they can lose this game anymore. If you ask me. I mean, I said this I said this about the last game, but apparently they could lose it. I really would have liked to see in that game. I want to see what happened there for Stowe and Thief. I think part of the reason, Stowe's start is very good, but he tends to throw games a lot of the times. So also against me, he just will always lose after 15 minutes. And I think part of the reason is because his decks are so bad. And also I don't think he has a hotkey for all idle villagers. Because the amount of villagers which are not working throughout the game is just too much. Yeah, but here with a decent deck with Spanish gold, they might have used their momentum to just finish here. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. But this is over, I think. Yeah, this is over. Stowe calls it. GG is called. I think it's a great series, so it's very back and forth. It's the closest one I've watched so far. So it's only sad that I think always the best games corrupt for whatever reason. Yeah, Stowe's eco. So Stowe had actually, so his economy was up pretty early, I think. For Spain at least. But his resources gathered just didn't reflect the amount of villagers he had, if you ask me. So, yeah. Well, I think it's a good series. Maybe Stowe with better decks. Will be a lot better. But, yeah, good games either way, if you ask me. And also, I have to also just give credit to Stowe. Because I think he just improved quite a lot in the last year or something. And he's really a lot better now. I think part of it is because he has a new PC and he's not lagging as much anymore. But you could really see the improvement. Okay, load game. So I think the next game will be... I really don't want to cast my own games. But I think I might have to. I think for a moment. I don't know. I think this is also Aegis and Naheuborg. Let's just go. Let's just get into those games. I haven't seen them. I don't know if I managed to do all today because these games are as long as expected. And I don't know if I have the voice for like 3 hours casting. So I would rather just have some games for tomorrow. No, this will also be a good game, I think. So this will be Galactica and Cezz against Alistair, Peter, and Angel of Death. So, in my opinion, Galactica, very good player. I think he also just improved a lot in the last year. He just also played a lot. I mean, I say that, and both of their starts are just not very good. But they are very potent in the late game. Galactica and Cezz. I haven't seen Cezz play, so I might take a closer look on him. Against Alistair, Peter, and Angel of Death. I have casted a game of Angel of Death and Alistair, Peter already. I think they are solid deathmatch players. I think they really should play more aggressive against these enemies. So usually what you would do with Germany, you send 2 villages forward, so three settler wagons on houses is not something you would want to do ever. I think he really had a bad start here. I think it's very unlike Alistair Peter, to be honest. I think he played early or something. I don't know. So usually what you would do with Germans, you would go forward, place two or three stables and an outpost with 2 of your 3 settler wagons, and then you would just put in the pressure on the enemy. And I think he could have succeeded a bit because he was a bit slow, Cezz that is. And he also doesn't have a lot of, so he doesn't have a lot of production. So it could have been successful, but doesn't matter, it didn't happen. So yeah. Yeah, I think his build order, so Cezz, if you're watching this, there's a lot to improve about your build order, but I'm not going to go into detail. So this is, oh my god, this is so painful. So I don't know why you would make Halberdier as France, but oh my god, they have been so worth it. They killed so much with the dragoons. I think those are the worst goons. So the goons with the lowest value I've seen in the entire tournament, just because they just completely ran through the enemy army and got wrecked by halberdiers. So not good. Not really good. Yeah, so maybe I can talk about the civilizations. Sorry. So with British you have a decent boom, you have a decent army. I think they are just average in all regards. So I wouldn't personally use them as a first pick. I especially wouldn't use them on Great Plains. So Great Plains has a lot of natives and you have very strong cavalry, so French is, I would say French usually is pretty average, but on Great Plains they are above average, just because of their strong natives and their strong cavalry, which gets improved by the natives. So yeah, this, I think his start was for some reason not good. He really should have 200 population out at 3 minutes. So it's very uncharacteristic, to be honest. So I think they can play a lot better, Alistair Peter and Angel of Death, and they did in the last game, I think. Yeah. But Galactica, he really got out his army, and he's really doing what he does best. He's just using a billion walls everywhere and wanting everything. Okay. Yeah, so this is still not a fight I would take if I'm Galactica. So the core reason is that I don't think you will ever trade good if you are fighting under 6 towers, even if you have a bigger army. And so, but maybe it's also just capitalizing on the fact that Angel of Death just has so few units. So I don't know. So I wouldn't fight under there. I mean, maybe it works now because Alistair, Angel of Death just doesn't have a lot of units. He really should have just more units than he really does have at the moment. So he looks pretty damn dead already. I think usually he's a better player. On this side though, Alistair Peter needs some forward bases if he wants to continue his push like this. And yeah, he's not in a game-winning position. I think he really needs to help his teammate, which he does. Why is Galactica making so many halberdiers? Is there something with the French halberdiers? They are just average, right? I don't understand. Halberdiers and skirmishes. Why? Maybe he's going for the factory snipes. So did he lose a factory already? I think he lost one already. I mean, he only has one factory and he's... Oh no, he still have both. Oh, but Alistair, Peter, your factories. No. Yeah, I think this will be 2 factory snipes. Yeah, and I think just from the skill wise from the players, so Galactica is very good in treaty and in late game. And I think the only real edge Angel of Death and Alistair Peter might have had if they would use their game knowledge or the game mode knowledge to their advantage. But their start really was not good. So I don't see them coming back, to be honest. I mean, it's not over, but the Galactica and Cezz are just set up now, which means that, yeah, it just means that I don't see them winning this game from this position just because of the skill difference, in my opinion. It's not impossible to win from this situation per se, but they are in the worst position, and yeah. Oh, and now Galactica is second trademark, so he's getting walls and he's getting a lot of towers, and towers and walls are just very strong in this game mode. So this is playing into his hands. He used a lot of his resources actually with his initial push. I didn't expect this push to be so expensive for him. He also just has a billion villagers queued up, so he really should have more resources. Yeah, I mean he has around 2k foods queued up in villagers. I'm also not a big fan of the Trash Skirmishers. I think they are one of the lowest value cards in the game mode, so I personally wouldn't use them. I would rather use... I don't know if they have heavy cannons or 3 horse artillery or yeah, really anything except 12 skirmishes. They are not very high value for an H4 card. Oh yeah, this was actually pretty painful to watch. Losing all the cannons. Does he have an economy now? No. No, this So Angel of Death. So usually at this point with Britain, I know he was under a lot of pressure, but with the Estates card, you can be, or you should at least be at 50 villagers. Good players will be at 99 villagers, I think, at this point. So yeah, he's really on a clock here. Galactica is booming slowly. French boom is slow in this game mode, but it is okay. Dutch automatically has a decent boom. What happened to all his army? So maybe they really should have group. Maybe they really should group more together. So Galactica and Cezz, because it's really hurting them that they are fighting against 2 armies on 2 different sides. This 4, I think he should have used those cannons to target down this 4. It would have only taken 2 volleys. I think as long as it is constructing, and this 4 will just do so much damage now. So, and it's very hard to get rid of. Galactica also now moves in. I'm just not a fan of sieging with skirmishers, no matter how many skirmishers you have. It's usually there's so much which can go wrong here. So if some cannons would pop out here, if some hussars would pop out here, if some ulans come, so this would all be goodbye skirmishers, and you have, yeah, you just lose all your army, and those 5 gendarmes will not help you against 20 Huss. That being said, he's cleaning up everything here. So yeah, I think this game is over. Let's just go forward. I mean, they're still pushing. I mean, it's not over yet, but yeah, it's over. I don't think this is a factory snipe. So you only really have one factory snipe. So did they get a factory snipe? Yeah, I mean, I can see why you would say this is a factory snipe, but really he's just killing all his base, and so it's not a factory snipe in my opinion. So they really have only one factory snipe. Let me write that down to Fifi. So Fifi. Just restarting the game real quick, and then we get into the second game of Alistair and Peter against Angel of Death, Alistair Peter against Galactica and Cezz. And I think then I'm going to take a break, because after 1 hour or something, my voice starts to. I mean, I think I can still cover my games, so maybe I will do that. So I'm probably doing that. And then we have 3 series for today, and that's enough. And tomorrow I think I'm getting like 2 or 3 good series again. So I think that's also something good. So load, recall games. So where is it? Second game on Deccan, okay. So Angel of Death and Alistair Peter picked Deccan. So Deccan is a map. It is not very big in 2 versus 2, I think. It is also not really small, but it's also not very big. So you can rush on this map, but it's also not a very open map. So I just, yeah, if I want to rush, I would pick Texas or even Andes Upper because it's more open. And if I want to play it defensive and feel more comfortable in the late game, I would pick Orinoco. So I don't understand why this will be the default pick for some people. So that's what I'm trying to say. Now we have USA for Alistair Peter and Russia for Angel of Death. So USA is, I said it before, but I think it's the best civilization in Deathmatch currently. I think he should get out some more outpost wagons right now. So the reason is they have a very strong rush, they have a very strong boom, and they have a very strong late game, so they really don't lack anything. Their rush especially is very hard to deal with. So yeah, I think they really should deny these walls from going up. I mean, those walls are just so early. I mean, I know it's Galactica, but come on, man. Yeah, I think those walls shouldn't go up. And that's the reason why, if you want to play aggressive, then this is the reason why I wouldn't pick Deccan. Because with just this wall here, and I also wouldn't rush from the middle, I would rush from here. because you have more space, more angles to attack from. And yeah, because with this 100 wall, they're buying like 30 seconds, which is very crucial at this point. This means that they can get out to full population because they really aren't, and I think they should at this point. And these units sieging some, or being under barracks and stuff, would be way more dangerous than they are where they are now. Yeah, so that's why I don't think they did themselves a favor with picking Deccan. So yeah. Angel of Death now attacking from this side. Oh, there's a gap in the hole. Oh, please just walk through. If he can get a DC down here and get a 4 up somewhere here, that would be good. But he also just can get up a 4 here. I don't think. So yeah, I think so. This is the reason why it just is like, oh my, there's so much dead infantry. Because they're all grouped up. Oh my god, this is so painful. So no, this is not a place where you ever want to fight with this much of infantry against these many cannons. I feel like the 100 infantry just collapsed in 20 seconds. So yeah. Also the aggression from this side really is not progressing. A lot of Spain, by the way, in this tournament. Yeah, I think for the core issue is that he would have, a way better chance of attacking from here. For 2 reasons. Here's more space. The wall wasn't up, and also his teammate cannot really help him that much because he would first walk through all the base and they tend to flank up. He also doesn't have like a base usually here. And you really can just go from there. With Fuse A. But yeah, so now this fight is going on. I think it's worth so this game is worth it mainly because of the cannon shots. So there's so much infantry dying in such a short duration of time. It's not something I'm used to see, I think. I mean, it's not stopping because the cannons will just clean up everything here if they are uncontested, and they are uncontested. Oh, it's so painful to watch. Yeah, so some cavalryans really would have helped here. Some raids starting here. This is also not a place where you want to have cannons. Oh, he could get 2 factories. Factory snipes. Can he get 2 factory snipes? Oh man, this is... I think this is the most random factory snipe I've ever seen. With... Oh my god, 2 factory snipes. With 100 war elephants. Oh man, that's painful. It doesn't change much of the result if you ask me, because they are collapsing here anyway. And they don't have much aggression going for them at the moment. Yeah, so we just see the resources. I mean, Galactica is out of food, but with Ottoman you don't really need food. He also has 5 TCs, I think. He should have 5 TCs, because he sent the 2 wagons, except if he forgot them somewhere. Spain's eco is also slowly starting. I think he should have had a 2nd TC out by now, but at least he does have the Spanish gold. Oh, where's it? Spanish gold, yeah, so Spanish gold. At least he has this card, so that's good for him. Yeah, he really should have 30C out by now. And yeah, but I mean the push is going forward. He still has resources in the bank. He probably needs a house more. Alistair Peter is completely out of resources, and he also doesn't really have a economy to speak of. Russia still has some. Does he have cannons? So I just don't think that this ball of units is something you can deal with at the moment with the. So maybe he would need a lot of culverins and a good culverin micro and also some horse artillery to deal with that. But I don't think he has a foundry here, so this is not going to happen. Yeah, just no. Yeah, I don't think this is happening for Alistair Peter and Edge of Death. So yeah, as I said, the core issues were that he would have had to start here with his aggression. I think he also should be able to boom with behind it, which he doesn't as much as he should be. Angel of Death. Angel of Death's economy is okay. He has 3 TCs going. He has 33 villagers. Yeah, I think they also should have just grouped up at the start or attacked simultaneously, because yellow was fighting against 2 while red was not fighting for 30 seconds or something. Yeah, so I think this game is over. I'm just going to speed this up a bit. I'm sorry if I have my doubts. I mean, I hope I'm proven wrong, but they will just walk there and destroy everything now. Oh. All these old hoods. Can they do something? No, not really. Yeah, I mean, I think if you're playing on Deccan, it also really helps if you're good with artillery, because of the chokes and the positioning and stuff. And Galactica is good with artillery. He has a lot of artillery, Cezz. Yeah, so yeah, again, I don't think 2 snipes in game 2 for factories, but other than that, I don't think much happened. Yeah, I think it's a decent game. So there were some pretty nice artillery shots. I think it's just over, and why don't they give up? They don't have anything. Oh, again. GG, well played. I mean, it's good that they don't give up in a tournament setting and they play until they are really lost. So I appreciate it. But I also... It's just not... It's just not something which is interesting to, or... The last 5 minutes, yeah. That's why I just skipped over, because I didn't see it happening at all, so... Yeah. Oh, that's nice to know. Sipia? Sipsha? How do you pronounce your name? Yeah, I mean, Cezz is playing decent. I think he needs some build orders and then he will be good to go. So, and I think for the last game for today, I'm just going to finish this. I'm just going to cast my games. So we played against Lady Malfoy and District 10. So District 10 substituted in quite spontaneously because the other guy didn't show up. So that's why we did it this way. So we at least had a game and didn't get an auto win. So yeah, in this game I'm playing as India and my teammate is playing as the Ottoman. So we know that Lady Malfoy is a 3D player and also a pretty decent at that. So what our idea is always, if we are playing against 3D players, that we are playing aggressive, just not let him get in the comfort zone with the super late game. And yeah, I think for the build orders, at least for her, like I said, the villagers you should split up. But other than that, it's okay, I think. Lady Malfoy, yeah. She also has a decent deck. I think she played some deathmatch already. Also the characteristic for 3D guys, just planting up walls with 2 villagers. I think it's just too early for these early walls. So your first villagers shouldn't build walls, I think, ever. Because production and houses is just way more important than walls. Having walls, you cannot complete them in 2 minutes when the units arrive anyway. So I wouldn't bother with it and would rather have production. By the way, I'm playing India. I don't think we've seen it here already, so I might just talk about the idea with India. So with India, you do not have mercantilism, so your first cards will always be a bit slow. On this map though, India is very fast because you only need riding school and a Cheyenne trading route or trading post and the immigrants to insta-produce howdahs. So you can get out a full population army of howdahs very quick. I was just waiting for the tame elephants, so I would save 10% on all my elephants. And now I'm just making all the elephants. In India also, the second thing they are good is, so the howdahs are pretty decent. So they are good for similar reasons as the war wagons. So war wagons are just pretty decent all-rounder units and you can get to max population very fast. In this case, I'm at 200 population and I'm fighting against 100 population. My teammate was already raiding, so yeah, that's good. So she was busy anyway. And yeah, so howdahs is one of the reasons why India is decent. And the other reason is the consulate and the consulate army with the bombards. So this means that they can deal with any sort of infantry. And they will deal with any sort of infantry. And the enemy will need to make cavalries. And cavalries are pretty easy to deal with as India. At least if you have this many howdahs. So howdahs you can just move in and snipe the cavalries and then go back. Or you also have the siege elephants, which will also be decent at doing that. And so you're really using the howdahs, the great bombards, and the siege elephants. Maybe I can quickly talk about the build order I'm usually going for. So usually I think I would on non-GP maps. Oh, this was a very nice shot here. That was a very nasty shot. So on normal maps I would go tame elephants first. This means that my first batch will be cheaper. And so I would start my first elephant, and once this card arrives, I will fill it up to 5 and start the next. And that's when I can send my next card to riding school. And then I usually go for the good faith agreements, elephant combat, Shivaji's tuck. No, elephant combats, then this one first, so you can make more howders, and then this one. And then you can go this and this card. For some economy and for more melee attack in case you need howders. So yeah, so is she out of resources? Oh yeah, she's out of resources already, so the bombards just emptied her bank, and she's not happy with the result. Yeah, on the other side, my teammate, yeah, he didn't need to win, so he just need. I think he would have won eventually, maybe. I think Ottoman in a direct confrontation is just better than Russia. But yeah, but the game was over anyway. But other than that, nothing happened. No factory snipes, only India in this game. Next game, I hope this works because the game was not too long and I don't have to restart it now. So next game, our idea was, so we were a bit ballsy. We thought, okay, the skill difference is there, so we are going for the Thieves reward, and we want to. So I'm going to pick Japan and do some stuff, and yeah, my teammate is just going for Dutch. And we are playing on Orinoco, which is a map which favors treaty guys, because you can typically wall either here, or you can wall here, or you can wall at some point here. So you can, so there won't be many fronts usually, and that will be decent for treaty players. Maybe I can quickly talk about the build order. So with all Asian civilizations, you want to always make immigrants first. If you are going aggressive, you need the militias forward too, because if you're not doing them, you might lose a villager against enemy militia, so that's why I typically just do them. If you're playing defensive, which you usually do with Japan, you can skip the militia at the start. So you will do immigrants, you will use your explorer to build all the shrines. You don't want to get near the herds. So the reason is that the difference between having herds and not having herds in Deathmatch is not that big. Because in Industrial Age there will be an upgrade which improves the shrines by 300%, and it will go off the base rate. So having animals around your shrine will only be 50% better compared to in Supremacy, where it would be like 100% better to have animals around your shrine. And yeah, you just don't have the micro usually to plant it somewhere and on the map, or your guy will just get sniped or something. So that's why I typically just do it in my base and then later get some goats on it. This game I kind of didn't do it well, so I for some reason sent my guys forward, so they're not building the shrines, which is not good. Yeah. Maybe for the rest of the build order you will go for a consulate immediately. You want the first card, you want to have the good faith agreements, so your mercantilism will be cheaper. You will get all the other upgrades, and then you will get, what I usually get is the Garokistas. So the core reason for them is you want to have some good cannons, and the Lancers are just a really good unit. So that's why I usually get one badge before I switch to Dutch and then to Japanese to get the upgrades. Then I'm usually going back to Spain. So you can also just stick to Japanese and make Hadamato if you want to be aggressive. So you can just, yeah, do that if you want. So yeah. Now we are slowly progressing. So we were expecting to meet some resistance here, but we didn't. So we were kind of running around here. We wanted to defend our front bases here. And So my idea, okay, so my idea for the Shogun was, okay, I'm sending the Shogun early, and then I will send him around the map somewhere and hide him for a long time, and then eventually I will just run in. And yeah, this is what happened to my Shogun. So this is not a good use of your Shogun. Don't do that at home. So my idea was I send the Shogun early, then I hide him somewhere here or maybe here. And then when they are not looking, I will get 4 more Tarus or these Sohais and kill their factories. But I lost my Shogun because I couldn't differentiate between my Shogun and my Naginatas. So I just lost him. So yeah. And in Deathmatch it's especially painful because you cannot retrain your Shogun. So, and the Shogun is very powerful, he gives a HP aura. And you can get shipments, you can train artillery in the back of the base if they are not looking. So he has a lot of fun, not fun stuff for the enemy. So that's why losing him is not very good. And yeah, so but I mean that's what happened. And now I'm getting the rest of my economy. Finally I'm getting this. So of course this KB Barra is enough to stop my Explorer from doing anything. Yeah. But we are setting ourselves up here, preparing our front. He's preparing a front base here. I'm getting the upgrades here in the natives, then deleting them for my ally, because with Japan maybe I could afford it when I'm fully boomed, but usually you are very low on resources with Japan, so I just get rid of it. And yeah, now I'm really only waiting for my front bases to go up here, so we can start our push. I could also just do it like this. Here some walls are going up. Here's a hole in the wall. Yeah, it's just not like this is. If you really just don't want to waste units, and he's just wasting units against counter units. And I mean, I say that, and you will see some very heavy unit wasting now. So the Yabusame riders are very expensive. What you usually use them for is to deal with artillery. But the amount of artillery I killed with my 20 Yabusame was just way too little. Yeah, so that was a very expensive trade. It didn't look like there were too many of these Carolines, so I figured I could take the shots and clean up the cannons. Yeah, but yeah, now there's still 3 horse artillery, and 3 horse artillery is enough for all amount of infantry. Maybe what was going on? So my teammate made some habits here, and he ran in there, sniped a factory. So that was good. Good job, my teammate. At least you are not wasting your units for no reason. And that's why he's also, the Lady Malfoy is also just not present here and wasting her army. Yeah, I think also an issue for her is, and also I think for me, I think this game is just sloppy from all sides really. So there's a lot of unnecessary trades, a lot of trades where you would have only 100 or where you wouldn't be at full population. So like this here, from both sides. Yeah, so just not a very clean game in my opinion. So usually you want to be close to 200 population at all times. I think I was so far away because my front bases were delayed for so long. Yeah. But also this is not something you want to do. To waste all your... I mean, maybe he baited all my Yumi archers, so they stay there and get wrecked by the Cav. But there's so much anti-Cav here that it's still not a good trade. By the way, what I did... Oh no, I didn't do it yet. But maybe it will come later. So yeah, so no, this fight is just going on. I think there's a lack of artillery for Sweden and for the enemy team in general. So they should have a bit more artillery in my opinion. And yeah. Also, now I'm finally getting to 200 population. My economy at least is looking decent. The boom for the other ones is also okay, I think, for all sides. Nothing too crazy, I think, so no one is lacking too much behind. And yeah, so Ashigaru's also a unit for Japan, is not a unit you want to have in high numbers. They are usually just not good. They are only good for anti-cav. So no, they are not very good in deathmatch, I would say. So they lack some crucial upgrades. They are pretty expensive for what they do. Their mobility is not helping them too much. And yeah. Also a lot of artillery is just delaying. It's just delaying me. So I'm getting a few more Yabusame. And now what I did, so in the consulate you can get some ninjas. And I figured, okay, let's snipe some factories. I think he noticed it pretty early. I think I could have also just stealthed them and run them in. Then they might have killed both. But also then they might have didn't get there in time, or crossed a tower or something, and then it also wouldn't happen. But the ninjas get a factory, so that is decent. I think it's a big investment. 40 ninjas, they are very expensive units to get in general. But you know, you have all these units again, like I said in earlier games. If you're being aggressive, or if you're raiding, then people tend to make mistakes and overcommit on that. So those 5 pikemen and those 40 ninjas means that all of Green's army is just running around somewhere and not helping the teammate. So we are just really moving in and attacking the teammate. Yeah, I think I shouldn't have moved here with my ninjas. I don't know if I know where the other factory was. No, I didn't. Otherwise I would have moved here and probably tried to snipe it. Yeah. Yeah, but I think at this point we are still in a good position. So we are pushing, we killed we killed 2 factories. Our economy is good. I mean, her economy is also decent. It didn't feel like her economy was that good. Maybe at this point she could have also used the market to sell some wood. But also maybe she's just wasting too many units here. So she lost a few mortars here, she lost a few cannons here. And if you keep those alive, eventually that means you can defend a push like this. But if you're slowly just throwing away your units and never getting a mass up, that's really... I think that's really what happened in this game for Lady Malfoy. Because her economy is decent actually. And I also think her build orders and stuff are pretty decent, all things considered. But you know, this is not a fight you should ever take. Yeah. I mean, maybe, okay, his teammate is here. Maybe those goons should also come here. What are these guys here doing? Yeah, but it's just, you know, ideally you would want some towers here. Or maybe towers is what's lacking for them. So if you would have some towers here, 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 maybe here. So you would have something to fall back to. Maybe some back barracks. She does have the wood for it. So there's no reason why she wouldn't have it. This would mean that they would have something to fall back to. and this would buy them some time. Also, walls are so annoying to your units, because your units will just attack the walls for no reason. So those Naginatas, if they would have been there on there earlier, they would have done so much more damage. Instead they just killed some useless wall, which didn't wall anything anyway. So, yeah. Yeah, I think this game slowly but surely is nearing the end. I mean, it's a very terrible trade for us still. So I lost a lot of Yumi archers against cannons. Finally got rid of it. I think we just should have a bigger army here. So my teammate maybe should have had a bit more stuff here. But they're calling it. So yeah. That's it. I think some pretty good games. So I do have at least one series which I actually wanted to cast today. But I think my voice, and I'm just getting tired a bit, you know, and I want to do it tomorrow or in two days when I'm fresh. So I will have some good series until then, and I know I said I would cast your games, Nahoil, but this will have to wait until Wednesday, I think. So yeah, all in all, very good games. Some very good games, especially the first ones. Those were really good, very high level gameplay. And I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the games. So thanks for tuning in. Have a good day, and yeah, I'm just seeing who I can raid. Let me see. Oh, I want to see how to do it actually. Stream manager. So who's streaming? I think I can just raid Kaiser Klein. Sorry, I don't know anyone else. So enjoy some salt or some lobby simulator. So thanks for tuning in. Have a good day and bye bye.